Hello, losers, cool beans, and other lovable weirdos. Today is about two things. One of which is our return to that mushroom-themed game. Thanks, Callie. We got more exploring in the pet store. I wanted to know what on earth is going on. What are our neighbors up to? What's the deal with the cats? Just a mushroom drum roll for Mycorrhiza. I exist. Oh yes, so we are at Frederick's where he has taken us to use his phone and nothing bad could possibly happen. I'm going to snoop around because of course I'm going to snoop around. I might find things to read. Yeah, let's check the pictures. I look at the pictures hanging in the hall. There weren't too many, but he seemed to be pretty cheerful in all of them. Especially the ones with his dog. For some reason, I hadn't seen it around. For some reason. No. Nothing else caught my eye. Living room. It was only one room over. Surely he wouldn't mind. He said I should feel at home after all. The living room was minimalistic and unimpressive. A TV stood in the corner, gathering dust. His bookshelf was well maintained, on the other hand. I looked over the books. He seemed pretty interested in biology. I'd love to chat with him about his field sometime, once I get out of this mess. I chose a random book without a cover and opened it. It seemed to be a handwritten notebook. Oh, this is going to be good. I quickly shut it to recheck the title. It seemed like I had pulled out a fantasy book instead of notes on biology. Evolutionary development intersections between botany and zoology. That would be a rather weird name for a fantasy novel, but the depictions on the pages confirmed it being fiction. The pages showed drawings of creatures I'd never seen before, accompanied by detailed graphs and diagrams. I returned the book and went back into the hall. What foreshadowing? Yeah, fiction. Fiction. I returned the book and went back out into the hall. Oh, hey, damn it, I wanted to check your study, but maybe we'd just run into you anyway. All right, it's all done. I jumped. Sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. No, it's fine. Good thing you didn't catch me snooping around. The phone should be working now. Feel free to give it a try. I'll give you some space. Call me when you're done. He took the bottle I had drunk from earlier and left through the hallway. I had an odd sense of déjà vu. I shook it off and started dialing some numbers. They were the same that I already tried on May's mobile phone. Once again, they failed to connect. How could that be? I was 100% certain that they were correct. You got more faith in phone numbers than I do. I just about remember my own. I tried all the numbers of friends, family, and even work colleagues I could think of until finally... Hold up, Scott just remembers, tons of people's numbers? Fair if he actually has to input them often, but what? Yes, hello? It was a woman's voice that I didn't recognize. I was certain that I had dialed the number of one of my colleagues. Excuse me, isn't this Tom's telephone number? I don't know who that is. Are you another scam caller? Don't call me again. She hung up. All right, something was definitely wrong here. It might be best to talk to Frederick and see if he could help me somehow. Maybe he had a clue as to how I could get back home. I crept down the hall. He went this way, right? I began to hear some murmuring. A steady chill ran down my back. I don't need any chills. It's cold enough, thank you. The sound was coming from the basement. Okay, what could go wrong in the basement? Oh, the old floorboard squealed beneath my toes. I saw flickers of a weak light coming from down the stairs. I took them as gently as I could as I held a hand over my mouth to quiet my breath. I reached the bottom and turned a corner. Frederick knelt before a big cage, a small lamp next to him, and held something up to the bars. He hissed to whatever was inside. Yes, you have the scent now, don't you? We must take care of this one tonight. He's curious. He will find the secret much faster than the others. No. We can't have him make something like you, too. It's kill or be killed in this town. My stomach dropped out from underneath me as I heard the horrible scraping from inside the cage. I took a step back, bumping into a wall. Before I could react, I had accidentally switched on the main light! Scott, no! The sudden flood of white blinded me for a moment. Once my eyes adjusted, the first thing I saw was it. Pennywise, that you? Oh. Looks like my friend's dog. Without the vibrationally aura thing, though. Do you have more teeth going on? Like, are you starting to form a mouth, a neck mouth, or are you just spiky? You look very cool. Raise your hand if you're getting those Full Metal Alchemist vibes. Okay, stop making it. I'm making eye contact with it and I don't like it. Just nope. Frederick was screaming at me, but I could barely think about him. I couldn't look away from that creature. It was cowering inside a dirty cage that seemed to be too small for it. It had features of a dog, but I could also see some elements that were distinctly human-like. Its mouth was way too big, and the inside of it was filled with a seemingly random set of teeth, or at least something that resembled teeth. Worst of all, though, were the enormous eyes staring right back at me. And oh boy, do they stare. Frederick fumbled with the lock on the cage. My feet finally began to move. I ran out of the house and into the streets. All the while, one thought was frantically running through my head. I had to get out. I had to get away from this demented town. With this thought clouding my mind, I hadn't realized that I had exited town already. I was now on a big, grassy plain. Breathing heavily and with fear flooding my mind, I had almost not noticed how heavy my legs had become. Soon I was struggling to stay on my feet, and my vision slowly darkened from exhaustion and panic. I wanted to look back to see how close the monster was, but I was too afraid of seeing it right behind me. I gathered my courage and quickly glanced behind me, and to my surprise, the thing wasn't following me. I didn't know if it had ever followed me in the first place, but it seemed like Frederick wanted to send it after me to kill me. Realizing that I was safe for now, I stopped. My legs were numb and almost gave in, but I managed to keep standing. I couldn't believe what I had just seen. It couldn't have been real. Every inch of my body repulsed the idea of such a monster existing. But I had seen it with my own 2 eyes. I continued on, at a slower pace this time, and soon came to a small but quickly flowing river. It wasn't a good night to get my clothes wet, but it looked small enough for me to jump over with a running start. Why does this sound like the lead up to a future Mr. Valen video? I wasn't the athletic type, but I managed to leap over the gap. Oh, okay, maybe going better than expected. I'm waiting on the catch, though. Suddenly, my feet staggered. There it is. A wave of fatigue came over me. It was as if I had stepped into a veil. The air had gotten heavier, and my breathing became more ragged. I clutched my chest as I tried to figure out what was going on. A throbbing pain pulsed through my back. It was as if something had stabbed me. My feet gave in, and my vision darkened. I could feel a presence near me. The monster? Frederick? Before I could find out, my consciousness faded. Nap time! Love thy neighbor. Oh. That's it? We finished it? Well, hold up. I wanna see what happens if you go to the study. Take a look around. Check the study. Entering Frederick's study felt like I was crossing a line. After all, he had invited me into his home and was trying to help me. But my curiosity overwhelmed me. I was wondering what that thing in Sabrina's basement was. And maybe I could find answers here. Answers! I like answers. I took a look at the table to see what he was working on. A flipped over picture frame and an open journal grabbed my attention. I decided to sneak a peek at the picture and was surprised to find a photograph of Sabrina and Frederick. They looked older than in the picture that I had seen at Sabrina's place. It depicted them in a park as they were having a picnic. A canvas was set up nearby. Why was it lying around, face down? Perhaps he just hadn't... Why was it lying around, face down? Perhaps he just hadn't had the time to hang it up yet. I turned my attention to the journal. His writing was messy, but I would probably be able to decipher it with some effort. What should I do? Read. I decided against taking the journal. Reading it was bad enough, but it was the lesser evil. I have a feeling that other people have found out what the plants can be used for. They must be developing their own pets in secret. I'll have to keep growing my own and hope that I'm faster, better than they are. I should be okay, as long as I avoid leaving anything of mine at someone's home. They can only do something to me if they have my scent, after all. Oh, I set the journal back down. Now I knew that he was a fantasy writer. That's the only way I could explain what this was about. Wow. Especially the terrifying sketches that accompanied the text were something straight out of a horror fiction. With doubts gnawing at my mind, I made my way back to the telephone. Oh, buddy. See, that's the part where it has the scent, and I'm like, can it not have my scent? Who's a good pupper? Who's a good pupper? Leave my scent alone. If I take the journal... Take the book. Normally I wouldn't steal, but this could be further from a normal situation. You think? I had no idea when he'd come back and how much time I had to read it. As I picked up the book, something fell out. I was startled by the sound and froze. Slowly, I picked it up and curiously took a look at it. It was a small key, possibly for a mailbox or a drawer. While wondering about where the key could fit, I heard approaching footsteps. My heartbeat accelerated. In a panic, I hastily put the key and the notebook into my pockets while quickly exiting the room. Okay, having the key and the notebook seems to lead to a little bit once you reach the grassy plain. So I want to take a break, or actually, no, what I want to do. What I want to do, because I want to see what both options are. What if I do take a break? I should really take a quick break to make sure that I wouldn't collapse along the way. So I sat down for a bit and kept lookout for the monster. After catching my breath, I suddenly remembered the journal. Maybe this would be a good time to take another peek inside. Read it. A small peek wouldn't hurt. I might find some clue as to what that thing was. I opened it to the very beginning and began to read. I've discovered the cause of the pet disappearances. No one was stealing them or killing them. They just changed. I installed a GPS chip on my own dog and followed it around to see what was going on. Eventually, I found it eating one of those odd-looking plants. I tried to stop it, but it growled at me. Never had I seen it act that way before. There was nothing I could do but let it finish. I took one of those plants with me to study it. Not too long after, I noticed that my dog had changed. It was a bit bigger, and its hair was falling out in great quantities. It also started to bark at me, seemingly for no reason. I tried a bit of the plant myself, hoping to see why it was so drawn to it. But I found the taste nearly unbearable. I set the journal down. I thought I had just heard a sound. I jerked my head around me to find the source. There was nothing. Maybe it was just my imagination. Or maybe it was time to keep moving. Oh, I want to continue reading though. I awoke the next day to a piercing pain in my left arm. At first, I was horrified to find that it was entirely bent out of shape. But something inside me suppressed my fear. I calmly stood to fix it. At first, I thought about getting rid of it, but the pain had already subsided. I was able to flatten it by beating it with a hammer. I had lost all feeling in the limb by that point. What would people think if I went out with a bent arm? I began to look for my dog. The first thing I found were large animal footprints, much too large for its paws. The kitchen had been torn apart, and strange hair littered the whole house. Then I found it. Or at least something that was once my dog. I could still see the resemblance, but most of its hair had fallen out and its jaw was dislocated. It began to growl as soon as it saw me. Shortly after, it jumped on me with no provocation. It was hard to keep off with just one hand, but its teeth had fallen out, making it nearly harmless. I managed to knock it out and lock it up in the basement. Now I had definitely heard something. I felt real uneasy about this, but I didn't want to stop reading. I felt so close to figuring out something crucial. All the choices! A little more couldn't hurt. I couldn't see any sign of the monster anywhere. I should be fine. Alright, where was I? I froze up. There was definitely something near me. And it was close. Way too close. I could almost feel its ragged breath on my skin. My heart was starting to race. My chest contracted to the point where I had difficulties breathing. I started to slowly put down the journal. I am an avid reader. That's the achievement you get for that. Try get in! No. It's way too risky. Just keep moving. Hell knows what that monster would do to me if it found me. I continued on, at a slower pace this time, and soon came to a small but quickly flowing river. Okay, this is the river. Yeah, we can jump over this. Nope. No. I want to escape. What is the key for? What is the key for? I could feel a presence near me. The monster, Frederick. I found out my consciousness faded. You found key 1. Is the key part of some other secret? Is that what this is? I got an achievement for the first key. We finished our scratchy pet adventure in Mycorrhiza. That was... I don't know what I expected, but that was wow. I'm very intrigued what the deal is with this key. I'm assuming there's maybe... is there a hidden key in each door? And then there's a like secret other thing? I really want to know what May has to do with this one, though, because I feel like she was ominously pushing me towards my doom. But we didn't run into her so much again later. Not so much like on the cruise. Thank you for watching. Feel free to check out my channel. Do the whole like and subscribe things if you like a little variety of horror content. And until next time, I hope you're having a better day than poor Scott, who just can't catch a break no matter what door he picks. Goodbye!